Hello and welcome. This is Adam from CNYC, and today we will be discussing atheism. Atheism, we will be discussing what it is and how it tries to use science, technology, and mathematics to disprove God. And we're going to see when it really comes down to Jesus, when it really is put to the litmus test, does it stand true? All right, now first we're going to define atheism. For those of you who don't know, an agnostic is someone who's unsure of the existence of God. A skeptic is someone who doubts God's existence, but an atheist is in a different category entirely. It's someone who states to know for sure that God does not exist. That's what an atheist is. They are entrenched in the belief that God doesn't exist, and they know for certain. All right. Now, theism, a noun, is the belief in the existence of a God or gods, especially belief in one God as creator of the universe, intervening in it and sustaining a personal relation to his creatures or his creations. So that's what theism is. Atheism, whenever you see the letter A in front of a word, it usually means the antithesis of that. So atheism is the belief in the non-existence of God. What many people don't understand is that atheism is also a belief, is also a religion. It's a belief or a religion in nothing. And to fill that nothingness void, they fill it with science, math, etc. And we're going to see if there's science or math really is math or science. So the outline for today's talk, we're going to talk about the theory of the Big Bang. We're going to talk about the theory of evolution, the problem of evil, the problem of truth, the problem of reason, or aka purposelessness, and the logical conclusion of atheism. Where exactly does this all go? If a person becomes an atheist, what is the conclusion? As a faith of a Christian, the logical conclusion is to be like Christ. That's the word Christian, that's what it means. It means follower of Christ. So if you follow Christ, you end up being more and more like him as time goes on. All right, now the Big Bang. I'm going to talk about the Big Bang. For those of you who don't know, the Big Bang is a belief that the universe started about from nothing, and then randomly an explosion occurs. An unexplainable explosion occurs, and that's what gave rise to all of creation. Right? It's the naturalistic story about the origin and development of the universe, beginning with a singularity when all mass, energy, and space was contained in a much smaller volume than the universe today. Claims that the universe, like I said, came from nothing. Now, what many people don't understand is that this is a theory. Again, this is just a theory. It's not like the law of gravity. It's not concrete. Many people will say, well, there's a lot of evidence for it. Not really. We're going to see why that's the case. I'm going to just go to YouTube here real quick. All right. We're going to see if explosions give rise to creation. All right. So let's look at this explosion here.
And there you can see the enormity of what appears to be a secondary explosion. Whether that was, it could well be the first explosion, because it may have been a fire just before it. But
now look at the catastrophe that this explosion has wrought. This is from the Beirut, Lebanon explosion that happened over the summer. August 4th here is when this was reported. So explosions do not create, they destroy. What the Big Bang is stating is that an explosion occurs, and after time, after millions, perhaps even billions of years, a fully formed universe will occur. Now, I want to ask you a question. If we leave Beirut, Lebanon, in this state, after this explosion, after 1,000,000 to 1,000,000,000 years, will this skyline look like this? Let's look at an image here. Will it look like this again? If we just leave Beirut, Lebanon completely alone, will it look like this again? Will it look as beautiful as this? After 1,000,000 to 1,000,000,000 years, we don't build anything again, we just leave it completely up to nature. The answer is no. All right, now put this on a larger scale. What the Big Bang is stating, we'll go back to our slides here. The Big Bang is stating that an explosion as big as the universe gave birth to the universe, and after 1,000,000,000 years or 1,000,000 years, however long they say, trees start coming up by themselves, mountains started to form all on their own. Life started to form completely uncreated. It's not very logical. It's not very scientific. Again, we'll look at that explosion that's not it. We'll look at that explosion one more time here.
And there you can see the enormity of what appears to be a secondary explosion. Whether that was, it could well be the first explosion, because it may have been a fire just before it. But
again, explosions destroy, right? They destroy. Secondary example. Let's look at a messy room, right? I'm going to look at this really messy room. It's really messy, right? All right, now seeing this messy room here, imagine you took a grenade, launched it into the room, the grenade explodes, right? Would you say that if you left that room in its rubble, that after 1,000,000 years, all the clothes will fold themselves, will crawl into the drawers, into the correct drawers, that the rugs will magically vacuum themselves, and your bed will be made all on its own after 1,000,000 years? That's the theory of evolution. All right. Now I want to take us to Dawkins here. This is going on to our next point. It says, in a universe of electrons and selfish genes, blind physical forces and genetic replication, some people are going to get hurt, other people are going to get lucky, and you won't find any rhyme or reason in it, nor any justice. The universe that we observe has precisely the properties we should expect if there is at bottom no design, no purpose, no evil, no good, nothing but pitiless indifference. And this is Richard Dawkins here, out of his book River of Eden, A Darwinian View of Life, on page 133, and the book was published in 1995. Now, here's a question for you. For those of you who don't know, by the way, Richard Dawkins is a rather world-renowned atheist biologist who is somewhat of an apologist for naturalism. Goes around and he speaks or debates with others purporting and preaching his views. So Richard Dawkins is saying there's no good nor evil in the universe. Well, I'll ask you a few questions. Was what was done to the Jews during World War II, was that evil, as you see here? Is that evil? I'll give you a second question. What about Andrea here? This was a poor woman who was attacked in Madrid, who was assaulted. Is that evil? Is rape wrong? Okay? That's what it really comes down to. This is the extent of atheism. They say there's no good, no evil. And that's the problem of the atheistic worldview. It can't possess any morality because it can't justify their claims. Why should anyone be good, quote unquote, unless there is a definer of goodness who upholds people accountable? It is one thing to say that hate, racism, and genocide and rape are wrong, but if there's no ultimate standard of morality, according to both Dawkins here and atheism, then how can these things be wrong? There is no right and wrong. You could just say that natural selection, right? Survival of the fittest. They were just doing things to pass on their genes, as Richard Dawkins says in his Selfish Gene book. So that's the problem of evil. Another problem that atheism has is the problem of truth. Atheists believe